unwarranted, unnecessary. These guys watch too many movies. Never showed a badge, never read me my rights, nothing. They think they're gangbusters, 37 guys to pick up one little guy. It's ridiculous. Rip me apart like I'm some sort of fool. Never resisted. Had 20 guns pointed at me for no reason.
He dressed as Santa for sick children and froze bodies so no one could tell when he killed them. His name was Richard Kuklinski. They called him the Iceman. He was 6'4", nearly 300 pounds. He lived in a quiet neighborhood in Dumont, New Jersey with his wife and kids. He drove a nice car. He coached youth sports. Neighbors thought he was a businessman. Nobody asked what he did for a living, because if they had, the answer would have explained everything. I was just a murderer. Richard Kuklinski was born in 1935 in Jersey City. His childhood wasn't just abusive, it was brutal. His father was an alcoholic who beat the family without warning. His mother believed in discipline so severe it blurred into violence. Broom handles, fists, anything within reach. She would beat him one day and take him to church the next. He learned something early, that love and pain could exist in the same place. And more importantly, he learned how to shut his mind off. He would stare at a wall and feel nothing while it happened. That ability to disconnect never left him. When Richard was 5 years old, his father beat his older brother to death. 7 years old, dead in their apartment. The family covered it up, said he fell down the stairs. Richard watched and understood something most people never do that young, that a human life could end and the world would keep going. By the time he was a teenager, something inside him had already changed. He started with animals, cats, dogs, not out of anger, but curiosity, control. He said it made him feel something when most things didn't. At the same time, he was being bullied constantly, beaten, humiliated, called names. That didn't make him weaker, it just gave him a direction. At 13 years old, Richard Kuklinski committed his first murder. Not by accident, not in self-defense, on purpose. He tracked down the leader of a group of boys who had been tormenting him, a kid named Charlie Lane. He beat him to death. Then he made sure the body couldn't be identified. He removed the teeth, cut off the fingertips, disposed of what was left. The body was never found. He went home like nothing happened. Later, he would say that was the day he learned it's better to give than to receive. He dropped out of school soon after and started working. But he wasn't just working. He was building a reputation. Someone who could hurt people. Someone who didn't hesitate. And physically, he was becoming something else entirely. Bigger, stronger, harder to ignore. By adulthood, he looked like someone you didn't want problems with. And most people didn't realize he already was the problem. In the 1950s, Kuklinski got involved in crime through bootleg pornography. That eventually brought him into contact with organized crime, men who recognized something in him. One of them allegedly tested him, pointed to a random man walking down the street and told him to kill him. Kuklinski got out of the car and did it. No hesitation, no questions, just walked back like it was nothing. Whether that exact story is true or not, what followed was real. He started getting work, robberies, collections, and eventually, murder. At the same time, he built a completely different life. He got married, had kids. To his family, he was generous, attentive, loving. He brought home gifts, took them on vacations. When his daughter was in the hospital, he dressed as Santa Claus to cheer up sick children. That was good Richie. There was also another version, bad Richie. The one who broke his wife's nose, threatened her with a knife, disappeared in the middle of dinner without explanation. His wife learned not to ask questions, because questions had consequences.
Mr. Kuklinski, we're going to conduct a bat search here. Put your arms out.
On May 25, 1988, Richard Kuklinski was convicted of multiple murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. This ended 30 years of cold-blooded killing by a master criminal police called the Iceman.
Richard Kuklinski is one of the most dangerous criminals we have ever come across in this state. He murdered by guns, he murdered by strangulation, he murdered by putting poison on victims' food. He did all of this at the same time while exhibiting a normal, placid family existence. His wife, his children were uninvolved.
In the early 1980s, Kuklinski learned something that would define his nickname. He met another killer, a man who used an ice cream truck for surveillance, invisible, unnoticed. That man taught him something else, how to freeze bodies. If you killed someone, froze the body, and dumped it later, the time of death became almost impossible to determine. It gave you an alibi, time, distance from the crime. Kuklinski used it, and it worked. One of his most disturbing murders happened in a motel room. A man named Gary Smith, someone Kuklinski believed might talk to police. He ordered him a hamburger, just the way he liked it, no pickles. Before it arrived, Kuklinski poisoned it with cyanide. Smith ate it, slowly. Witnesses said his eyes changed first. Something went wrong inside him, and Kuklinski watched. When the poison didn't kill him fast enough, he strangled him, then left the body under the bed. Guests stayed in that room for days before anyone found him. Eventually, patterns started forming. Multiple missing men, all last seen with the same person, Richard Kuklinski. A detective named Pat Kane started connecting the dots, but there wasn't enough evidence. Not yet. So they went undercover. An agent spent over a year getting close to Kuklinski, building trust, recording conversations. Kuklinski talked about the cyanide, about the murders, like he was describing normal work. At one point, he even asked the agent to get him more poison. He had another job planned. In 1986, they set the trap. They gave him fake cyanide. After the deal, Kuklinski tested it on a dog. The dog didn't die. And just like that, he knew something was wrong. He went home. 2 hours later, police surrounded his house. It took multiple officers to bring him down. Even then, he was still thinking clearly, still reacting, still dangerous.
This is unwarranted, unnecessary. These guys watch too many movies. Never showed a badge, never read me my rights, nothing. They think they're gangbusters, 37 guys to pick up one little guy. It's ridiculous. Rip me apart like I'm some sort of fool. Never resisted. Had 20 guns pointed at me for no reason.
In 1988, he was convicted of multiple murders, sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole. Later, he gave interviews, calm, composed, almost amused. He claimed he killed over 100 people, maybe more, but investigators couldn't confirm most of it. Some believed he was exaggerating, building a legend, turning himself into something bigger than he really was. Because the truth is, he didn't need to be a myth to be terrifying. He'd already killed, already poisoned people, already frozen bodies, so the truth couldn't catch up to him. Richard Kuklinski died in 2006, in prison, at 70 years old. His family described two different men, the one they loved and the one they feared. Both real, both the same person. At his core, Kuklinski was shaped by a childhood where violence was normal, where pain meant control, where shutting off your emotions meant survival. Over time, that survival mechanism became something else: habit, identity. The Iceman wasn't just a nickname, it was a description of someone who learned very early on how to feel nothing and spent the rest of his life proving it. I was just a murderer.
How many people did you kill?
An approximate guess. Approximate, we'll go with more than 100.
How do you feel about killing?
I don't. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't have a feeling one way or the other. I think if I had a choice, I wouldn't.
The following program is based on 17 hours of an interview conducted under maximum security at Trenton State Prison. Law enforcement officials allowed our cameras unprecedented access in an attempt to uncover details of various unsolved crimes. It was also hoped that the interview would help to penetrate the mind of Richard Kuklinski, a mind made for murder.
Richard, when you were on the streets, what kind of weapons did you use?
When I was out on the street to do something, I carried 3 guns and a knife. I had a Derringer in each pocket. And a gun on my ankle, a bigger gun just in case, and a knife. And it all depends how it came about.
You indicated yesterday that you used a shotgun. Guy with a stoplight or something like that, or?
I had a red light. We were following this fellow. We pulled up at a red light, came alongside of him, and shot the shotgun, took his head off. He never saw the green light. It was a sawed-off shotgun. It was very, as a matter of fact, when it happened, it surprised me. I expected the man to die, but it really surprised me when it took his head off. It was something I didn't expect.
Richard Kuklinski is not a serial killer. He's not a drug-crazed, wild man running around with a machine gun. He's not a person that is driven by perverse sexual desires. He doesn't drink. He doesn't gamble. All of these things which many persons that are involved in killing and murders often are motivated by. Richard Kuklinski, instead, is nothing more than a predator on human beings. His motivation is greed, and his method of murder is very varied and very